here.
We are here. Hello to the people.
Hello, everyone watching. Welcome to our very first portfolio roast stream with special guest. I guess we'll start by introducing ourselves and then we'll introduce our special guest. So I am Mo Ayato. I am one of SFU's 2 virtual ambassadors.
I am Faye Ayato, the second of SFU's virtual ambassadors. Glad to be here as always.
Get closer to your mic.
Oh, yep, my microphone is very far. Yes, I am Faye, the second one. And joining us today is a very special guest from SFU's Co-op office.
Hi. Hello, everybody. My name is Afshan Basaria, and I'm the Cooperative Education Coordinator for Interactive Arts and Technology Program. Lovely to be here. Feel like I'm on a podcast of some kind. I love
This
it.
kind of is a podcast.
Yeah, not too far
Yeah.
off.
A virtual podcast.
Yeah, always wanted to do it.
Wow. Now you get to do it.
In fact, my pipe dream to be a talk show host. but
Oh, all right.
One step at a time.
What's up? This is the first of your many adventures, I'm sure.
There you go.
Chad has already noticed the Cappu plushie.
Yes, sitting right
The
in front of
real
you.
world Cappu plushie visiting. But yes, today we're talking portfolios. We're gonna start off. Our program is planned to start with Q&A with Afshan, and this is opening the floor to all of you in chat. By the way, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. We'll be watching, and please keep the questions portfolio related.
If possible.
But we do have our own questions to kind of get the ball rolling, and we're gonna just let Afshan trust her expertise, and she's going to hopefully give you guys some very informative information. That was very redundant. But yeah, I think we'll get started. I hope we have background music rolling, so it's not just us talking in absolute silence.
Yeah. And if the regulars are in chat, be nice. Be nice for the guest, okay? You know who you are.
Good evening from Germany. Hello to Germany.
Whoa.
Germany.
What
Very
time
cool.
is it in Germany?
What
right now?
time it is in Germany? I don't know. We'll find out what else when they answer. But yes. Okay. Shall we get started? I think we'll start with our very first question, which is and hopefully, by the way, for everyone in chat, I see from the poll that not everyone here is a student or even an SFU student. So hopefully this will be helpful for everyone you're going to find out what a portfolio is. We'll get there. But hopefully everyone will find this useful if you are looking for work. Everyone's got to become a wagey eventually.
2312 in Germany.
23. Wow, it's nighttime.
Very nighttime.
All right, well, good to have you. All right, let's get started. Shall we start with the first question? Afshan,
Yes.
could you please tell us, what is a portfolio?
Yes. Before I do that, I think a little bit of a context might be a good idea with respect to where the knowledge that I'm going to be sharing with you, where is it actually coming from? So part of my role is student-facing, part of my role is faculty-facing, and then part of my role is employer-facing. So each semester, we visit about 60 students roughly. I visit about 50 to 60 students roughly at their workplaces. So co-op, for those who don't know, is a work-integrated component of your academic program. It's optional for SIAT students at SFU. And the idea is that the students are going to gain some theoretical and practical hands-on knowledge in their classes, but then they will get an opportunity, should they want to avail it, go and use those skills, apply those skills at a workplace, get paid, get supervised.
Hi, I am sorry to interrupt. We just got a message in chat saying it's very hard to hear you, and the stream audio is quiet in general.
So we might be jacking that up.
Is this better?
Definitely clearer, but
Chat,
on
what do we think?
stream technician side, if you could check the audio levels to make sure that we are all audible. We are fixing. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want you to keep talking if people couldn't hear you.
Sound check, sound check.
Yes.
Whoop whoop.
You might have to be a bit louder.
Louder than this?
Turn the volume down on my side.
Right. Yes.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay.
Are we good?
I think we're good.
I mean, we trust Snot Eater, right? It's
Snot Eater is one of our regulars, not from SFU. we do not know who they are.
Well, if it's coming from Germany, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're sleepy.
Okay. All right. It seems like audio levels are fixed.
Okay, perfect.
You're back.
So yeah, I was trying to give you guys a little bit of context of what my role is and how it relates to what we are talking about today. So part of my job, as I was talking about, is employer-facing, faculty-facing, as well as student-facing. So I work with all of the stakeholders here at the university. And with cooperative education, it's hands-on experience, and it alternates with the academic term. So for SIAT students at SFU, what that means, it is optional, so you don't necessarily have to do it. But if you choose to do it, you will get an opportunity to apply the skills that you have learned in your classes in a real workplace. You get paid, you get mentored, and you build an amazing network. So part of our job, as I was mentioning, is to visit those students who are on the co-op work placement. And before COVID, those visits used to be done in person. But then after post-COVID, it's mostly online. So what we do is we do check in with the students as well as their supervisors, the employers, to see how things are going forward. So during those meetings, we also talk to the employers about what are some of the skills that they are looking for when they are hiring. Because it's important to understand that once you graduate from your academic program, where are you going to be working, and who has the capacity to hire you, and what those people are actually wanting with respect to the applications. So a couple of things that you'll have to understand is, A, depending on where you are, so we are assuming that you are currently living in British Columbia, so what kind of opportunities there might be, and what kind of competition is there going to be for you when you are actually making those applications for your work? And how can those applications be competitive? So how can you strengthen your application? So our conversation today will have the wisdom coming from my visits to those employers, what they have told us over time, over years, information and conversations happening within the faculty, so on and so forth. So based on that collective wisdom, portfolios, especially for interactive arts and technology program students, remain one of a very critical pieces that allows them to make a very competitive application when they're applying for work. So going back to what a portfolio is, it's essentially a showcase of your work. Who are you as a designer? What can we tell you, or what can the employer tell you? Or if you're going to be working freelance, what can your client tell you about by just looking at that portfolio at a glance? So when you're thinking from a job seeker standpoint, once you graduate, or even when you're looking for your co-op jobs, your resumes will have to make a statement, but then so does your portfolio. So what is written on your resume? Your portfolio essentially is almost like a moving part of that resume. And so for that reason, it's extremely important that you have a resume, because the majority of the time, employers are going to ask you whether you have a portfolio and how are you going to be using it to showcase your skills.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good introduction and summary, I think. I guess to recap for people who have just joined, because I see we now have 23 people watching, which is exciting. So Afshan, if I'm understanding this correctly, this is so co-op. Your background, obviously, co-op is essentially, helping students get one semester of work experience, and they get to apply the skills that they learned in school, and they're getting paid for it. It's basically a job for 4 months.
It could be 4 months. It could be 8 months. Yeah.
Yeah. And portfolios are, as you said, an extension of your resume. I don't know if you mentioned this. To me personally, when I think of portfolios, I think of like a showcase of your best work, like in practice. Because
yes.
resumes are just like words on a page.
Yes.
And there's not much you can do there. You can't even put pictures in it usually. So portfolios, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to just recapture it in one sentence. It's don't tell me what you can do, show me what you can do. So that's essentially a demonstration, so to speak, of your work. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like a showcase. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Should we move on to our next
I
question?
believe we can.
Yeah. Do you I feel like I've been leading the conversation a
Sure.
lot.
I mean, I feel like you may have answered this in your spiel there, but just in case recap, do you need a portfolio?
You're a SIAT student?
Well, I mean, actually, looking at the poll now, we've got a sizable amount of people saying they are not students. So, but I do think that portfolios are kind of valuable for everyone.
Yeah.
Anything in like the creative field or even the technology field, I feel like they need portfolios. You just need when you need to show your project work and competence, no matter what field you're in.
Yeah.
I feel like a portfolio is good. But yeah, we have a surprising amount of. We've got 54% SIAT SFU students, and then we've got 38% not students.
Oh, I wonder what's the interest. If people are deciding to join us today, I'd really love to know what is it that they are after. What kind of information would be helpful for them if they're not students?
Maybe like for the question of do I need a portfolio?
Yeah. Then again, it depends. Not everybody on this earth walking is going to need a portfolio. So that's why I think it's important. We keep in mind that I am right now talking as if I'm talking to an interactive arts and technology student, right? So if that's our audience, yes,
Yes,
you will.
You guys need
Yes.
portfolios.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think that like just kind of broadly speaking, I feel like any kind of arts related program is probably going to want portfolios. I think like I said, like tech, I think that there's a surprising amount of a lot of like programmers or software engineers will also want portfolios to show their like show their dev work. So yeah. Okay. I don't know if there's much more to that question. It's really dependent on kind of. Oh, also, Blockhead in chat said maybe this is not my kind of stream. And someone, I think Madame Stream Technician, replied saying in a few years, which is true. If you're a student, and when I say like a student, I mean not a university student, you probably don't need to worry about it just yet. But the moment you need to start thinking about, I need to get a job, I'm going to graduate, that's when you need to start having a portfolio.
Yeah, even if you're thinking about freelancing, even while you're in school, and
true.
you feel that you're confident that you can bring something, you can contribute to a design, to solve a design problem, for example. You will have to show either your client or your employer how you're going to be able to do that. So I think for that reason, it's really important to have one portfolio for sure.
True. And Madame Stream Technician also wrote, if you're applying for art school, you'll need a portfolio, which is true. True for grad school too as well,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next question. What are the components of a portfolio?
Ah, juicy.
Juicy.
You see.
Okay.
This-
Okay. Okay. Full disclaimer, full disclosure. The portfolio, just like resumes and cover letter, it's pretty subjective, okay? You might hear different things from different people. I am only going to share what I know to be the best knowledge that I have. And in the beginning, I tried to cover my bases by saying that this is not something that I had a dream about last night. This is a collective wisdom that I've acquired over the last couple of years by talking to faculty members, by talking to the employers what they want. So keep that in mind and ask the question again. What are the components of a portfolio?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay. Before we go there, you need to understand the why, okay? Whether you're a student or not, you're here and that matters. You're here wanting to listen to this, so that matters. And any conversation that we're going to have today, I really want you to start thinking as a problem solver. As a designer, as a student, what problem are you trying to solve? And what specific steps can you take to solve that problem? And what is the result that you're after? So whether you are speaking, whether you are networking with somebody, whether you're talking to a client, whether you're talking to an employer, this kind of needs to be your framework. It's what is my contribution going to be to X, Y, or Z? So if you're going for a job interview, if you are, freelancing, what specific problem are you able to solve and how are you able to solve that? So with that sort of framework in mind, you need to think what makes sense for me to put on my resume, on my portfolio. because I need you to sort of think about this. And if you can amuse me for 2 seconds, and if you're able to put your responses on the chat, just so that we can see if people are actually not sleeping right now.
Oh, no,
But
there have been a few people in chat. One person, Taylor, said, I highly recommend the SIAT Co-op program. It helped me get my permanent job.
okay, we did not pay that person, whoever that was, so we're good, we're good.
Yeah. And someone else said this is a crazy first collab. I guess they're excited to see you, Afshan. So
Oh, lovely,
Yes.
lovely. Oh, that's fabulous.
yes.
Okay, so topic at hand. Now, based on what we have talked so far, what do you think needs to be?
In a portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
I think your best project work. Up front on the very first thing that they see, it's got to be like right there.
Okay.
Speaking for me as someone who's like in 3D, I made a demo reel for the first time kind of recently, and I put that at like the top, I guess, because it's like a perfect summary of all the project work really fast. But in my opinion, it's your best foot forward. It's your best work. And you put
Okay.
that up front and center. What do you think, Faye?
I mostly echo what you say, but also say that it kind of needs to be you on there, right?
You.
It's a representation of you, who you are as a person, as a creative, as work, right? Like a resume is good enough to tell you your skills. The portfolio gives into a bit more of your character. That's my belief, at least in my mic. Yes.
Do we have any responses on the chat?
We had someone said taking notes, but one person asked, this is Neha Basaria,
Oh.
asking how to stay positive with job rejection.
Okay, we can get to that once we get an opportunity. But going back to the components of a portfolio.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, the projects. Put your best foot forward. And what is it that you can do? So how are you going to do that? You will have to talk about the projects that you have completed, right? So if I'm looking at a portfolio, to me, what makes sense, it has a landing page. And then on that landing page, there is a brief intro about who you are. How do you want the world to see you? So your personality a little bit. Again, when I say about you, I'm talking with respect to you as a professional, okay? So just a brief intro of who you are as a designer, for example. Your selected work. So again, a lot of people ask, okay, I have X number of projects, which one should I put? What do I do? I think we will get an opportunity to talk about that in a little bit more detail. But 2 to 3 projects are a good key number if you want to put a number to it. So your top, again, put your best foot forward, right? So you're talking a little bit about your intro, some of your contact information. You're putting some 2 or 3 projects on it, and in a very case study kind of a scenario where you're going through your steps. So I hope that we will be able to go in a little bit more detail and talk about what that actually looks like.
I have a question for you, Afshan. Kind of a
Oopsies.
follow-up question to what you put in your portfolio.
Yeah.
I do know that Co-op encourages students to not just feature the projects, but also like write in depth, like a breakdown of the project.
Yes.
Do you how useful is that, like writing this kind of breakdown? Do you think that companies, do they actually look at those? I have to wonder.
Excellent question. Okay, so now we are going in a little bit more detail. So when I was talking about the components of a portfolio, we talk about project. We do advise our students to write their projects as project analysis. So when you actually want to break it down, you are essentially looking at going back to what problem am I solving, the steps that I'm taking to solve that problem, and then what's the end product. So how detailed does the employer want that? I definitely 2 camps. One is, tell me you can do this. Is this problem solvable? So if I'm coming to you with a specific design problem, tell me what's your solution. They don't care whether you want how you're going to get there, or maybe not right away. So that's your one camp. The other one is actually walking through the process. So what I've actually noticed is, especially for interviews, employers do want to know your process a whole lot of the time. Now, how much detail you're going to put will essentially be decided by the time allocated during that interview for you. So if your interview, let's just say, is 45 minutes and the employer is saying, okay, you'll have 10 minutes to talk about your portfolio. In that case, that sort of decides how much detail you want to be in. If it's a 3-minute portfolio time, then you also, again, going pretty much overview, high level, that kind of stuff, and not into too much detail.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Especially like, do you think that like if they've skimmed through your portfolio, it'll save time in the interview because they looked at your process already? I don't know.
Yes and no, depending on how descriptive you are. So for example, one of the interview questions is, tell me about a relevant project. And at that time, you could just as easily say, would it be okay if I were to share my project on my portfolio? And that way you can answer 2 questions, with one response. Yeah.
True. Nice. Efficient. All right. I guess we can move on to the next
Yes.
related question.
This is very related. What makes a project good for a portfolio? Or sorry, I skipped it. What? Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Let's.
These are kind of the same thing, actually.
Yeah, it's like either what makes a project good, but similarly, what do people look for?
What do they want?
Yeah. What do they want?
Employers. I want to be hired. Give me a job.
Yes. Okay. Think about it this way. It's a competition. Okay. Your resume has done its job. You now have the interview. They might have checked your portfolio out at that time, but then now they want to interview you. Usually, I'm talking about a co-op job. For one position, Simon Fraser University, for example, receives 20 to 30 applications. Then there are other universities that the employers post their jobs in. And then they also post jobs on their own website. So the number of applications that an employer receives is depending on the employer and the type of job, but sometimes in tens, sometimes in hundreds. So how many people will get an opportunity for an interview? Again, if it's a co-op job, depending, maybe they're selecting 3 students from here, 2 from there, 3 from someplace else. So they are interviewing quite a few people. Now, you need to have that competitive advantage. You need to be able to make an impression on your interviewer, on your employer. And so what makes sense? How can you make that happen in a very short period of time to get their attention? A lot of the time, if you have put in a lot of information on your portfolio, if it's too scattered, if it's not organized, it will diminish the value. They are very quick to move on to something different, to a different application, to a different portfolio. So first thing is important. The most important thing is organization and clarity. So you need to have a very clear purpose. Again, that shows what you are as a designer. Are you organized? Are you cluttered? What's your thought process? Where do you get from point A to point B? So clarity is very important. The other thing is fit, right? So let's just say that you are applying for a UX researcher position, but then your portfolio has maybe gaming and animation, and how does that fit? So you need to make sure that you're putting in projects that speaks directly to the type of positions that you're applying for. Same thing goes if you're freelancing, if you're trying to attract specific type of clientele, then you would target and tailor your resume, your portfolio based on the outcome that you're wanting. So the fit is again very, very important.
Wait, so you're saying that you would suggest that like people have different versions of their portfolios for their different jobs they apply for?
Again, the answer is it depends.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for myself here,
Yes.
but my portfolio, what I did was I separated like pages for the different types of like genres.
Yes.
Like I have games in one section and then like
Yes.
animation in another.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's overwhelming for employers. What I've been trying to do is maybe like if I'm applying for like a 3D specific I'm applying for like specifically a 3D position, then I'll go to like the 3D tab and it only highlights 3D projects, I guess. Is that kind of the right approach or better than having all in one?
Yeah. So the reason I said depends, it actually does depend on the job and on the employer. So the current situation is such that one employer might be looking to fill multiple positions with one person.
Oh, that's true.
So what that means is they might actually be wanting somebody who wears many hats, which means that, can you dabble into some website design? Can you do some researching? Can you do some animation? What does that look like? And so in that case, if you want to show diversity on your portfolio, then you'll have 3 projects. Again, you would have done your research. You would know what the position might be, what the company might be. And if that's what you want them to see, then you'll have, for example, 3 projects on, and you will show that diversity. But if you exactly know that the employer is looking for only this particular thing, and that's what you want to be targeting on, then that's what you're going to be targeting on. If you actually have a depth of experience, then it doesn't hurt to have different type of portfolio to demonstrate different kind of skills.
True.
The other thing I wanted to talk about with respect to what do people look for in a portfolio is process.
Process.
So not just the pretty end product, but how did you get from point A to point B? What is your process?
So that would be like the kind of more detailed breakdown that we mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a related question in chat.
Yes.
Distant Meyer asks, if I want to apply for example, a game job as a non-programmer role, is it still valuable to note anywhere that I have game programming skills?
Short answer is yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we will talk about process in a little bit more detail because I would really like to spend some time on it. But going back to the what do people look for in a portfolio? One of the other things I wanted to mention is the aesthetics.
Oh, yeah. I was going to mention that. How important is presentation? Because I feel like with resumes, I mean, there's not really that much you can do in terms of making it pretty, but portfolio, it should be screaming you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if I am a model, runway model, like what am I going to do? What kind of portfolio would mine look like? What kind of photos will I be sending?
Sorry, if you're a runway model, you have me fooled.
Well, I was hoping you'd say that.
It's too easy. But yeah, so yeah, I guess like well, I don't know. What would you recommend, like having something like flashy looking, or like I don't know, should they use templates to make it look nicer, or what's kind of the approach here?
It depends.
Yeah. I mean, I can speak from my experience. My first portfolio looked like garbage.
Okay, hold on. Why did you qualify that as garbage?
Because I looked at it, and the first thought I have was a Wix template would look better than this.
Oh, yikes.
So like my content, I was decently confident in my content. The presentation was lackluster.
Did you make it from scratch?
Yes.
Well, props for doing that, I guess. I don't know about you, but I just used a template and it's been working pretty good for me.
Yeah.
I'm not a web designer, that's why.
Nor am I.
Couple of things with respect to design and format. Okay. You are interactive arts and tech. You would know a thing or two about user experience and user interface. And with that in mind, a lot of the time when you're creating your own portfolio, you might have some blind spots. So a really good idea is you put your best foot forward, but then have somebody else look at it from a UX and UI standpoint. What that means, as a user, what's my experience? So I think during the course of today's session, we are going to be reviewing
Roasting.
Thank you.
I got nothing to do with it. Three type of portfolios, and you are going to be able to see what kind of strengths each one brings and where might some of the discrepancies are. So with respect to user experience, your information needs to be very organized and it needs to be very intuitive. It needs to lead the reader in a specific direction, and it cannot be complex or complicated. The color, whatever you want to present. And a lot of the time, again, go back to as a UX research, or you will apply some design principles, right? You will think about your audience, who my audience is, who am I sending this to, what kind of font size, colors should I be using, what is my user experience is going to be. And so if you want to go to that extra length, that's something that you can definitely consider. It's if I'm applying, for example, if health authorities is somewhere I want to work with, maybe I am targeting one or two different type of health authorities, go to their website and check what kind of style they have. And then you want to create that fit. That's what your, some of the things on your portfolio is going to look like, going to mirror that a little bit.
So look into the industry that you kind of want to go for, and see their style and see if you could kind of cater to that style, I guess.
Yeah. And then obviously have your own personality, but a couple of things that just common sense things that you need to be mindful of. Again, the navigation. Obviously, you will not have any links that are broken that take you nowhere. If you're putting any clickable items, that they are actually clickable. You have consistency with respect to where your information can be found. So, for example, if you have 3 projects, the layout needs to be so that if my eyes are trained to look in a certain way for certain information, I can expect to see the other 2 in the same way. So consistency is again important.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds like your portfolio should work.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Yeah, I mean, those are, basic UX, UI principles that I think anyone should have if they're going to have a website or portfolio.
Practice what you preach.
Exactly. Yeah. There was a follow-up, another question. I don't know how related this is to the specific topic at hand, but Tim Chen asks, some YouTube videos suggested to just use Notion and go networking instead of, I guess, the traditional process of job hunting. Thoughts?
I think that's in reference to like templates.
Oh, templates. Oh, like
Yeah.
as in instead of trying to make like a nice portfolio website, just throwing everything onto a Notion document. What do we think about that instead?
I don't have a specific opinion on that.
Fair.
Do we have an opinion? I don't know. I think Notion is to me it's like a nicer Google Docs, and I'm like, if I just wanted to throw my projects on a document, that's a resume.
Speaking of projects on a document, we have another question in chat. What would be the minimum amount of projects that should be on a portfolio?
Good question.
What do you guys think?
3?
I lean towards 2 if the 2 are good enough.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not a good example because my portfolio has like 50. It has like a lot of
Wow,
projects.
that is a lot.
Listen, I just been making stuff, okay? But like I try and categorize them so it's not too overwhelming at once. Like on my landing page, I have like 3 or 4 highlighted main ones, like my most impressive ones, and then all the other subcategories will have like their own other projects. So I don't know. It sounds like a lot. Like it might be like 20 projects, but I don't know. Is that too much, Afshan? Is that bad?
I would ask you, why would you put all of the projects on it? What would be your rationale?
So my reasoning for it is because each project showcases a different skill that I have. And it just so happens that I have many skills.
Yeah.
I have many hats.
So you want to show your diversity in your skills.
Yes.
There is such a thing as too much information, in my personal opinion. And again, I told you, things could be very subjective. So if we are putting a cap to things, to number of projects, I think what you are trying to deliver can be delivered in a more succinct way, keeping in mind that, so again, the difference between a resume and a CV, right? If you're applying for a PhD position somewhere or, a higher up faculty position or whatever, then I need to see that 15 pages of document. However, if it's not, then a 2-page resume should do the job. So general rule of thumb, 2 to 3 is a good, solid number where you can actually showcase a variety of your skills.
I see. It's over for me.
Nice. I'm sure you're fine. We do have another one in chat. I think this is also in reference to like template tools. Do you have any opinions on Adobe Portfolio?
This is from Mari Coco.
No opinions there.
I have opinions.
Oh, you do? I've never used it.
I've used Adobe Portfolio against my will. I was not my choice. I was helping someone else, and it sucks. It's very
there you have
it's
it.
very inflexible in terms of layout. So if you want to kind of tailor make your portfolio, present it exactly the way you want it, I don't think Adobe Portfolio is a good resource for that at the moment. It just doesn't have enough freedom. There goes our sponsorship opportunities. Oops.
Take it back now.
It's just a prank. I was just joking, guys. It was all a prank.
Let's see if YouTube agrees.
I won't name drop the website that the thing that I'm using for my portfolio, but sorry, that's my honest opinion, and this does not reflect the opinions of the school or Afshan or Faye. I only speak for myself.
I had no part in this.
Okay, next question. I think we have I think we can move on to this one, right? Yeah.
Mo, watch this clip being replayed many times once you start working for Adobe.
No,
it's like,
no. Adobe, if you're hearing this, please hire me.
Oh.
It was a joke. Yeah, our second to last question we have prepared is when should I update my portfolio? How often does that have to be?
What makes sense?
What makes sense? I guess like to me, I would think like maybe after I finish like some big milestone project,
Yeah.
then I add it in. I might, touch everything else up, remove some old stuff.
Here's what you need to keep in mind, okay? Just like your resume. So when you have just completed high school, you have your volunteer projects on, you have now completed your undergrad degree, your volunteer experience from your high school still on. What does that say? What kind of message is that?
It means you haven't done anything worthwhile since high school.
Right? Either that or, you're too lazy, you never really changed, or you never really thought about it, or it's just like a template. Like none of that served you in a good way.
You heard it here first. Afshan says you're too lazy.
Hey, no, none of our listeners are lazy. They are spending quality time in the middle
That's
of
right.
the afternoon. Some
That's
people
true.
are actually calling from Germany.
That's
it's
true.
midnight there.
That's true. And they're here because they want to learn to be better.
Yes.
So you know what? That's none of our viewers. You guys, all 26 of you right now.
And to their credit, they have not left yet.
That's true. That's true. Okay, you guys are the good ones.
Yes. Please stay till the end. No, so how often should each? So here's the thing. Once you have acquired the newest experience or project, it makes sense for it to go up. And then anything that's, let's just say over a couple years, and if it's taking up space and it's not adding any value. So you need to think about your portfolio or your resume as a prime real estate in downtown Vancouver, okay? You will only put what belongs and what adds value. You will take everything out that no longer serves you.
I see. Skim the fat.
Skim the fat, unless you want the fat.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know if there's that much more to the question. Okay, we have a viewer question. I think we'll get to it after we finish our last question prepared, which is, does a portfolio have to be a website?
Oh.
The big sigh.
Was that more loaded than I thought it was?
I thought it was, I don't know. I guess it kind of ties to the questions about like, well, can I just do a Notion document instead of making a website? But I don't know.
I try to stay away from the shoulds or shouldn'ts. So I am going to say use your discretion, put yourself in the best possible light. It's a competitive environment. Your competition is probably doing everything above and beyond to make sure that their application is competitive. You are showcasing your strengths, your skills, yourself. Website is more dynamic compared to a static document.
Yep.
Is one better than the other? You make that call.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion is that like, at least, okay, websites are easy because you can just send a link and someone can click it and they'll
Yes.
instantly see everything.
Yes.
And the other major thing is that with websites, you at least have a little more flexibility in terms of like, let's say you have a video, let's say you have something interactive. You put these in a document, they're not going to play. It's going to be a lot harder to see these. Whereas on a website, you can maybe embed it, make it easier for people to look at your stuff. So I don't know. My opinion, I think that websites are convenient for most use cases, especially for interactive arts. It's probably the most convenient way to display your stuff.
Yes. And one of the things that's on my note that I wanted to make sure that I articulate, which I don't think we have talked about, is this is one of the common things that I've noticed is students write their accomplishment as in a group, we did this. What the employers actually want to see
What did
is
you do?
absolutely. It's what your contribution is. What kind of problem were you solving in that? I do have an example which I pulled just so that we are able to, for some people who are more, okay, give me an example of what you're talking about. I can just read off of this. So let's just say that you probably were working app redesign. So we talked about almost like a problem solving statement, action, result, the process, and then the result that it got you. So in your mind, this is what it can potentially look like. And once you have that thesis statement, once you have that narrative, you can then build your project analysis based on that, just so that you have like a framework to go with. So for example, your why is important and your what is very important and your how is very important. So as a problem solver, you need to first, right off the bat, you need to make sure that your listener or your audience says what kind of problem are you solving. So this was we talk about the Metro Map app redesign. This was a redesign of a transit app. Why? To improve route discovery for new users. I led the UX design and usability testing. Now it's very clear what you were doing. I chose task-based user interviews. So now you're talking about your design approach, your design methods, your principles, to uncover pain points and in real-time navigation. Then what was your result or iteration? Each test showed users struggled to compare route options. Now what tools did you use? I used Figma to prototype a new side-by-side route comparison view. I designed it, for what reason? To highlight travel time, transfer, wait time at a glance. I structured the flow to reduce taps and cognitive load. Now your A to B, how did you get from point A to point B? That's very important. I started with the basic list view, saw in testing that users got overwhelmed, iterated towards a modular card layout with iconography. This was important because it directly improved task completion speed by 30% in test. So this kind of shows you almost like a layout or a formula that you can potentially use to get from point A to point B.
Okay, yeah, that totally makes sense. I mean, from the sounds of it, I statements are good, right?
Yeah.
Saying, I did this for this reason using this. I think that...
I mean, there is such a thing as you can overdo it.
I mean, I've kind of been told like you can start on a we to paint the overall general picture,
Yes.
but you should like close in.
narrow
on an I.
down
Yeah.
on
Yes.
your contribution.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, your contribution needs to be a little bit more evident than just a group work. And stay away from vagueness. Like
Yeah,
it needs to be
absolutely.
specific.
That makes sense. Okay. This is the question from chat. This is from Rumi in chat saying, not really a portfolio specific question, but I'm just wondering, what should we do when there isn't much there aren't many jobs on the co-op job posting board right now? Sad face.
Sad.
Sad.
Yeah. Okay. lay off the land. And I want to also tackle one of the questions being asked, how do you stay positive after several rejection? I think we can connect the two. That was also one of the questions being asked.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got nothing. My answer is eat ice cream and cry in the shower.
That helps. It does. But it needs to be chocolate ice cream. Anything else is just Band-Aid when a surgery is required. It does not work. Okay.
Wow.
I know. Been there, done that. No problem. So SIAT or any other program cannot function in isolation of where the world is, how everything is interconnected. So when you think about interactive arts and technology, it doesn't exist outside of the tech world, for example. And the tech world doesn't work in isolation if the general economy is falling down. So many factors will have an impact on the job opportunities being available. Now, what does that mean? Couple of things are happening. These are really, really good questions, and I'm so happy that they are being asked because it's important for you to understand them as a job seeker. There is no easy answer. On our job board, you may see positions that the employers are posting with us. But what is also happening is a lot of the employers may be going through some kind of cuts, and they might be going through staff shortage or whatever have you. They don't have time to post to 17 different universities. They only prefer to post on their own company website. And that might be one of the reasons you might be seeing fewer positions. The other very important thing is the general economy, the economic state of where things might be right now. So under the current scenario where, based on tariffs, based on geopolitical scenarios, a lot of manufacturing companies, for example, have shut down. A lot of tech companies, for example, are not doing business, are doing a little bit less business with our partners in the USA. And what does that mean for us, for our companies over here? So that really is playing up quite big. We are seeing hiring freezes. We are seeing rescinding of many positions. We are seeing layoffs. And that's just the reality of where things are right now. The other thing you have to also understand is where you are and what's the demand of the type of work that you want to be doing. And this is not just for interactive arts and technology. For example, the hottest place where, for example, I don't know, if you are going up north and it's always cold there, you're not going to sell t-shirts in winter. It's not going to work. So similarly, if you are living in an area where the type of jobs that you are seeking, what does the industry look like? Is the industry healthy? Does it have the capacity to hire people? That's very important. What is the demand for the kind of work that you are doing? And if the answer is maybe not as much, then that's a clue for you to actually then go and venture outside of the area that you're in. Maybe you go out of town. Maybe you go into places where there is that kind of a demand for the type of job that you're doing. The other thing to keep in mind is Co-op job board is only one of the platforms that you could potentially be knocking doors on. And only never use it just as the only option for you. You need to tap into many resources. What those resources are: networking, joining clubs, joining meetups, putting yourself out there, going in places where there are opportunities of meeting with people in your industry.
Volunteering, maybe.
Volunteering, putting yourself out there, absolutely. So yeah, all those things are going to be very important. And again, the reality is there might be, are you guys able to hear me okay?
Yep.
I think so.
Okay.
I think it's just move backwards and speak louder so that, because when you speak really close to the microphone, you can hear like peaking sounds.
Yeah, it's a little pingy.
Yeah.
Is this okay?
I will have to let the Madame stream technician.
Okay, yeah, they're giving me a thumbs up.
Okay,
All
good.
right.
Very enthusiastic thumbs up.
Yeah.
But we can't trust Jay. He's like jet lagged. No problem.
No. I also wanted to add, also another option is freelancing online.
Yes.
When if you really need a job and you're trying your best to apply and you're a machine that turns apply now into, unfortunately, we've decided not to progress with your application.
Mm-hmm.
Freelancing, go out on the internet, see what you can find. This is really especially true for any kind of art related stuff. You can do commissions. It's a great way to add stuff to your portfolio, by the way.
I'm doing some right now.
Exactly. So that's my suggestion personally, is freelance.
Yeah, there's a question about AI and portfolio, and I'm just gonna make it a little bit more general than specific to portfolio. AI is much obviously larger and bigger than using ChatGPT to create something for yourself. A lot of companies use it. A lot of students use it. You as an artist, as a designer, you can use it to aid and add value. This is not a substitute of who you are, if that makes any sense.
I'm just gonna say, couldn't be me. I would not. Sorry, I gotta get it out there.
Yeah.
I want everything that I showcase to be it's a representation of me, so I did all of that, and it's all me. What you see is what you get.
Yeah, me too.
My hot take. Sorry.
Yeah, we do have some viewer questions to address.
Oh yes, it's the one from Distant Meyer saying, "How do you keep a healthy mindset with average advice feeling like you must be working always to be better than literally everyone?" Fair question.
Very fair.
Okay, if it makes you feel any better, I lived about good 10, 12 years in the USA.
Oof.
Texas to be specific.
Are we allowed to
I'm
say
sorry.
That? Are we allowed to say that?
Yes. However, I did make a conscious decision to move to Canada, and I haven't gone.
You're still here.
Okay, I don't want this replayed at the border crossing at some point.
No.
Nothing against the United States of America.
Do we have to unarchive this?
Oh no.
Why I say this is because the level of competition that I have seen there, I think we are way laid back compared to it, for better or for worse. And so, yes, it might feel like we are on the go all the time, and it can be really, really exhausting. But that's just the nature of the world is. I mean, if you want to get somewhere, you have to hustle. There's no shortcut. I haven't found one yet.
Distant Meyer, my advice is ice cream in the shower.
I would say that holds, still holds.
No, I think for me personally, I would suggest again, focusing on freelancing, because that's kind of that's kind of the best we can do in this climate.
Yep.
Yeah.
And at least it's something. You're still getting paid, you're still getting work, and you get to buff your portfolio in the process. So also doing commissions. Commissioners are very happy when you make the stuff they ask for, and that helps your ego, and it helps the pain a little bit.
I know. I've always been one of those people that's like, I could never see myself working, like, my ability to visualize myself in a certain job position is very poor. So I treat it as, if I get the job, great,
Yippee.
wonderful, that's me. If not, it's me. It's expected. It's
Faye, what do you want to be when you grow up?
that is a very good question.
Games?
I'm working sort of in games right now. I have a few things I am working on at the moment that I cannot quite share yet.
Oh, boy.
It's
NDA?
NDAs, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like for me, angling for like the animation, like 3D, 2D, I don't know. It feels like such a pipe dream. I'm so scared that I'm not going to be able to make it.
So I'm going to totally put you guys on the spot.
Oh boy.
Okay. One of the reasons is I think you guys are already putting yourself out there. Or maybe not, because you guys are behind avatars.
I don't know. You don't know who we are behind our avatars. We could totally be putting ourselves out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
true. Okay, so have you done any specific networking activity which has been valuable, or where you think that, oh, this is what is missing right
Okay,
now?
I will admit I hate networking. I can't
Nor
get
can
into
I.
it. It's so scary to me. I don't know how to put myself out there.
Okay, here's what I propose. If there is an audience, I would be very happy to do a networking roast with you guys.
Oh boy.
A networking roast? How does
Sure.
that work?
It's gonna work the way that this one is working.
Well, okay, maybe
We will talk about networking. We will make it less scary.
because I guess like you could roast. I don't know. What's your opening line? Like I don't even know how to even begin, because networking is you go to an event and you talk to people and you kind of give the elevator pitch of yourself. We will give it a very approachable spin. We will make it palatable for you. All right, well,
bite size.
One person in chat, Mari Coco, says, I would watch you train these two in networking. And another user, King Yare, says, that's peak content. So at least two people
There
want to
seems
watch.
to be an audience for it.
Well, two confirmed red participants. Okay.
I don't want to network. It's scary. Okay, well, I think that's it for I want to watch two technician. Okay, all right. Well, I don't know. Thomas says networking is democratized by the likes of YouTube. I mean, I guess technically us doing live streams like this is a form of networking.
In a way, I guess.
We're getting it out to the public, but all right. Shall we move on to portfolio roast?
Yes, what you came here for, I believe, chat.
I believe so. Okay. I think so. We did receive a few. We received several portfolio submissions. Thank you very much to all of you who submitted. If we don't get to your portfolio today, don't worry. We are going to eventually do this again. I think once we receive more portfolios, I think we'll do another one. Hell, if we do that networking stream, we can also roast more portfolios.
Sure.
All right, let us change to the portfolio roast screen.
Woo.
Okay. We are starting with Rachel Sia. I hope I said that right.
Your
Yeah?
guess is, I think you're right.
Okay.
I trust you.
Okay, and we do have consent, right?
We do have
We
consent.
have express written consent from all the students who have submitted their portfolios.
Yes.
Beautiful, because we don't want to roast people who don't want to get roasted.
Yes.
Nobody's roasting nobody. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rachel.
So before we go into it, I'm going to quickly recap our conversation so that not just me, but Mo and Faye, you, and then our audience who's sitting with me can actually put some gentle feedback of their own. So right now, what you are going to be doing is giving your own quick impression. And what I would like you to see, think of yourself as if you are going to be hiring this person. And what your portfolio needs to do in the first couple of seconds is almost want to see whether you want to go to their portfolios, whether you want to see what they're doing, whether they are, whatever have you. So a couple of things that a portfolio needs to do based on our conversation today: the design, the layout, the number of projects. Do the projects have that project analysis component where I'm able to see, or where you are able to see, a clear problem statement, the action or the how, the process, and then the result? Can you, by the end of this, see this person as a designer, but not as a designer, as a problem solver? And why it's important is because anybody can sketch, for example, something with right and necessary skills, but how are they going to fit in a company environment where they are just given a task, where the task might be very, very abstract? You may or may not have a lot of details. And this is another reality for SIAT students. A lot of students want to work within agencies, but the reality is we have very few agencies here who have the capacity to hire the students. So a lot of students end up working in organizations where they might be the expert, which means they actually have to translate the words into the design. So they might only hear the problem, but through their own interpretation, they'll have to, as a designer, try to fix that problem. And it might not happen in one iteration. They might have to do it, submit several drafts in order for them to be able to do it. So their product, the portfolio that they are submitting, the projects need to be a live example of how, as a designer, I have the capacity to translate your words into my work. How can I solve a problem? So the portfolios that we are going to review, they need to be able to do that. So what you are looking for is user experience, intuitiveness of the detail, and then the problem solving, the consistency in how they are navigating, or how we are able to navigate. Okay, so we are going to look at Rachel's, right?
Right.
Now, if this is the landing page, I'm going to just scroll down. So over here, you should be able to see 3 components. So just by looking at this page, I can see that there is design, illustration, and a resume. So technically, if I click on one, I should be able to see. And I'm going to get there in a bit.
It works.
It works. So it's a little bit about them. We talked about it. Give yourself a little bit of a personality. So what they do, what kind of designing tools do they use, and then their latest work. So all illustrations and all designs. So technically this should work, and I'm going to get to it, but in a moment. But when you look here,
Ooh, I like the little penguin on the bottom. That's cute.
oh, that's interesting. Anybody here who has an issue with the penguin here?
Is it your best foot forward, I guess?
Hey, I ain't judging. I'm just putting a question out. I'm saying, hey, do you have a thing for penguins?
I think it's cute. I think it adds personality. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it's at the bottom, so it's not that big of a deal. But for me, like, the first thing I thought of is, like, the moment you land on the page, the very first thing that you see is like this kind of line art. It's not colored. The one in the photograph at the very top, right? I'm like, that's the first thing that's the very first impression that we get, and we don't even get to see like a fully colored illustration. I wonder why this was chosen as kind of the first thing you see.
All right, so there you go. Now the other, oopsies. Penguin takeover. Okay, so
Maybe this person just likes penguins.
yes.
Yeah, they
there you go.
clearly do. Yeah. Yeah, I respect it. But yeah, I feel like, because like when I scroll down and I see the like full color illustration, the self-portrait, I'm like, oh, that's really nice. Why wasn't that the first thing I saw instead of like a random not colored line art illustration? I wonder why that was chosen as the first thing.
Right. So on their landing page, they had their contact information, a little bit about themselves, and then at least two of the project. But then over here, we are seeing that we can see some design and illustrations. So if you look at this specific project, you will see an overview. Now, if I click play full game, this should work.
Yes, it does.
It works.
Does it?
Does it?
Is the game browser hosted?
I'm gonna try on my computer.
Oh, it does.
Oh, well, yep, it works.
Right? So that's good. And then they talk about the solo, whether it's a solo project, which is good, their own specific role, check, the timeline, the tools that they use. And now they're talking about their process, right? Which is what we were talking about. So they brainstorm, you can see their iteration, you can see the code mechanics, you can see the method behind the madness. So far, so good. And then their takeaways. Right?
Very thorough.
Yeah. Now I want to go into that design tab and want to see what they are trying to portray. Now over here, I got a little bit confused, right? So they are talking about promotion material, but when I click on this, it just takes me to Instagram. Although when intuitively, what I was hoping to see, it's like a project analysis if this was supposed to be a project. So this confused me a little. So I lost that consistency. When I was looking at the Penguin page, they had the overview, they had the process, they had things noted down. But when I came here, that sort of flew through thin air.
Do you think like maybe a paragraph would help? Like,
I'm saying make it consistent. If you're following a pattern, just train my eyes to just follow that. Now, if you keep looking, there's an information overload. Now, at this point, I don't know what I'm clicking anymore.
oh dear.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean, because like some of those are clickable and then some of them aren't, and it's not very clear which is or isn't.
I think what this is judging by the fact that they have an illustration page. I've seen this on some portfolios where it's like, you know, these are quick examples of work that I have done regarding this specific thing, and like I think the issue that presents itself here is that I feel like some of these could very easily be project pages of their own, but instead they're presented in a gallery style.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about a view book?
Like as in you just kind of flip
So
through
if you want people to, I mean, why not make it as a catalog? I'm just putting it out there. I wonder how people feel about it, because we have students who feel very differently about different things. And they're like, no, and you know, it just takes too long to click. But I'm thinking if you want people to see this as a gallery and as a catalog, then will the view book be a little bit more neater? How do you guys feel about it?
I agree with you actually. It's just there's so much information on the page, and it's really overwhelming. And
Right?
like I think that honestly, a view book for each of these projects. So like, you know, for UCM promotion material, you could put all of those in like a slideshow, and then the swarm design, another kind of slideshow or view book. Like that would make sense. That would help clean things up. Because right now scrolling through is just so overwhelming.
Yes. And same thing is happening with the illustration gallery. There's just too much information. I'm just not sure. I'm not knowing what's going on. There's just too much left for interpretation that it's creating a little bit of a chaos in my mind. So if I go back to their homepage, if I'm only looking at these two latest work, I think it might be, it at least follows a specific a pattern. We just checked the Penguin takeover, but if you look at the other one, again, it follows a good pattern. Overview, team, my role, timeline, tool, my process. So they're essentially, it's very concise. Your eyes are following a specific pattern. It's just the same whether I looked at the Penguin one or the other. So the process remains the same. What design methodologies do they use? Storyboarding and design. So now they are talking about different type of tools and methodologies that they have used, that the reader can actually see it very clearly. Okay, where is this person coming from? What's their process like? It's very neat. It's very clean. But if you were to not take a look at this one, if you only go to this page, and if you don't even scroll down or whatever have you, and you only go to designs and illustrations, then it seems a little bit chaotic.
That's true. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even think that the two featured projects on the homepage are in the sub pages of designs and illustrations. They're just not there.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If the employer is probably going through, let's just say 20 of these, what are the likelihoods of them actually hitting the core that you want them to see?
Yeah, true.
I wonder how the audience feel about this specific portfolio.
Chat.
Chat, now's
What
your
is-
time to
what are
speak.
your
Also,
thoughts?
my arms. Ooh.
I also have something that I wanted to add, which is I think that the projects that are in the designs and illustration tab are actually much more advanced in quality than the featured two on the homepage.
There you go.
I wonder if it might be worth updating what's featured on the landing page to something that's more recent and more reflective. Because, like, I will say it, some of this artwork is very, very nice. I think it deserves to be on the front page.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of ties into what I said on the earlier page. Like, some of these could very easily be project pages of their own. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's... Yeah. It's not that the work is bad or anything. It's good. Like,
there is such a thing as too much information. So you as a designer, you need to guide my eyes. It's your narrative. I will see what you want me to see. Is that what you want me to see?
Yeah. And I would say that, like, the narrative just from the landing page, because, like, we have to assume the worst, that the average person looking through the portfolio will not have the time to dig through all the other tabs. Like, they might just scroll through the landing page and call it. Are the things that are currently featured there the best work that you have? Because I see some really excellent stuff in the other tabs, and I wonder if they're getting overlooked.
Yes, and that is just the likelihood of how things are. It's if you're not putting your best foot forward, it might not be get noticing.
Yeah. Because Rachel, you've got some beautiful artwork.
Yes.
Flex it.
Yes.
Even honestly, like I said, my first impression, I wish that the very first thing that I see, instead of this still from the comic that's not colored, I wish you put, like, some kind of some of your breathtaking artwork just up front immediately. So I'm like, whoa, that's cool. As the first thing that I think when I see it.
Yeah. Do we have any comments or feedback on the chat?
Let's see. Did chat say anything? No.
not at the moment.
Stream technician said, "Flex it, Rachel."
All right, we go to our next one.
Yes.
Go.
Boom, boom, boom. Fizza.
Fizza.
Okay. So Fizza has a landing page, and on their landing page, we should be able to see their work, about themselves, and contact. So it's checking that box. They are describing who they are. And then over here, normally I expect to see the projects, the clickable projects, but that's not happening here.
The pictures are clickable.
Although when you click it, nothing happens. It's an open heart.
Oh, really?
Oh, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, no, they're
wait.
draggable?
Wait, you can drag the pictures
drag
around.
them.
That's fun. And there's like a little description underneath, like visited Dubai.
But the way that my eyes are trained, I'm expecting to see projects here clickable. So if
That's
I click
true.
it, but again, that's my preference. But as I go down, let's see what I'm able to see. So they have put,
2 case studies here.
2 case studies, which is good. We will go into them. But then they have also put their, almost like a snippet of their resume,
Yep.
which I don't know if it belongs on the landing page. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I feel like it's a little too, like, people will get to your portfolio after they've looked at your resume.
I feel this information over here is a bit redundant. It takes away from where the attention needs to be. You are demonstrating. You're moving away from the word component. Again, do some people think that a resume belongs on the landing page? I'm not really sure. But, okay. So we go here to Vancouver Startup Week.
Click it.
Okay, so there's some context here. Their role, which is good, they're talking about what they have done. Research and insight, designing the challenge. So now they're getting to the how. Their problem statement, which is again very good. Any specific strategies that they've taken. The information architecture, so home, sponsor, blog, contacts. Pretty thorough. They're talking about wireframing and laying out. This is again very important because the employer needs to see what type of tools would you use under what specific circumstance. So if your problem statement is such, you're using wireframing, was that the best possible outcome? They might ask you questions about it. It's like, hey, why are you choosing wireframe compared to X? So good. And you're also showcasing that you're able to use different methodologies. So I like what they have done here.
I have a nitpick, and that's some of these pictures have very small text,
Yes.
and I can't click to enlarge them.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
I don't know if that's too nitpicky, but yeah.
No, and here's something to keep in mind. Really depends who your reader is. If they are stickler for details like this, they are moving on. So really, it's very hard to target something because everybody has different preference. But overall, if you are following the general guidelines, you should be okay. What I would really like to do now, intuitively, is I want to be able to go here on these tabs and see what they do. Are they clickable? Are they doing something here?
They are clickable.
Thankfully.
Oh, whoa.
About me, good. And I wanna be able to navigate their work projects to the work tab. And I am able to. Oh, no, wait. So these are now all the projects, but they are not the projects that were on the landing page. See, now I'm confused.
The two on the landing page are under featured work at the top.
Though it is interesting that when you click work, it scrolls you down, not to featured work.
And also, like, I don't know if this is one or two, because I know that they have talked about Avalanche Canada on the first page as another project. I kind of know, but when I look at it, it looks jumbled.
They almost blend together.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. If you are putting more than two, or if you are putting all four or whatever have you, you need to make sure that they are all up to that standard. I'm not only going to click on the featured one, I'm just going to maybe say this one.
Oh.
So does this make any sense to you guys?
Yeah.
We just got a message from our text. The site does not work in mobile, apparently.
Oh.
Ooh.
Which is which you see, I was gonna say, because like this is very obviously a designer's
Yes.
portfolio, right? Like, which is why I was willing to kind of forgive the draggable things as treating the portfolio as a demonstration of, hey, I can do this. But if the site doesn't work in mobile, that's not a good look for a designer.
The other problem is this project just takes you back to the landing page again. So if I click on the plead the fifth.
Oh, is this an
Oh, you're right.
Oh, is this an in progress?
Oh,
or in
no.
process?
So again, if there's something which is half baked, it does not belong here.
Oh, yeah. It says coming soon. Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, I see.
So absolutely don't do it. You only want to put your best foot forward. Nobody's interested in what you may be doing or can be doing, or if it's half baked.
All right. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I also have thoughts on like the overall layout. It's a lot. It's really cool though. There's some really interesting aesthetic choices, but I think the biggest thing is that it doesn't scale well. Like the not working on mobile is kind of a big concern, unfortunately. And the amount of content on the landing page, it's like the photos, and then the two featured projects, and then the work experience, and then also the bio.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the bio a little bit. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the day, once upon a time, long time ago, people used to write their objective on their resumes, and that's become quite redundant because people were using it inappropriately in that it was too vague, it did nothing for them. So if you're choosing to write a bio, it needs to actually show your personality, tell the people who you are, what you're doing. Are you able to see that here?
Well, I'd say the design does kind of communicate like an aesthetic, artsy, hipster photographer type vibe, which definitely matches considering they're showcasing photography. But I wonder.
We're also talking about the bio, I believe.
Oh,
on screen
sorry. Yeah, the bio.
But no, your points are valid. It's.
Wait, did we click through the bio, or are we just talking about the?
I think the very first thing we see up here.
Oh, the
on
very
landing
top
page,
one. Oh, we're
yes.
not even getting to the longer bio. We're just focused on the opening statement.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
it's pretty basic.
Product designer and aspiring product manager based in Vancouver. Good. That's, role,
Tells you the
location. VC who loves turning ideas into intuitive, human-centered experiences.
Buzzwords.
I don't know. I see. I'm thinking in my head. Am I allowed to call that a buzzword if that is
what they do?
Yeah. If that is that a relevant UX thing? I am just not in the sphere enough to understand, or is that like a vague concept?
Intuitive, human-centered experiences. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, if you're questioning it, that means there's something there. Okay, we are going to come to our final portfolio. Max Nielsen.
Wait. We're done with Fizza already?
We're done with Fizza.
Okay.
We're good. We're good. We've moved on.
We should. Okay, wait. Before we move on, I did notice that someone in chat, it was the person from Germany, Crazy What Else, said maybe the creator just expected everyone to scroll only through the landing page and called it a day, so they put everything on the landing page. But the fancy draggable pics don't seem to do much or anything.
Yeah, good, exactly. And here's the thing. I understand that, designers have a large ego. But trust me when I say this, it's not about you. It's
I thought you said you weren't roasting. Damn.
I mean, we're coming to the close. I can say one bit and then run away and never come back.
Damn, y'all heard it here first. But yeah, no. I mean, I do want to say something positive. And Fizza, if you're hearing this, your work is good. You just need to kind of work on the current form of presentation of it and make it more streamlined and maybe make it flow more naturally and only put the stuff that you want people to see like up front and center. Only the stuff that matters needs to be on display, I think. And
I kind of saved the best for the last, kind of, sort of, because it captures a lot of good things and it checks many boxes. So we'll look at Max Nielsen, see what works. Just first impressions.
Okay.
Well, that's very straight to the point. It's project about.
Oh yeah, it is too.
Right? You exactly know what you're getting yourself into. There's no ambiguity. There's nothing. It's very straightforward, very concise. Your eyes are just going to where they need to go. Sure, if you want to nitpick, the About Me page is at the bottom. It could have been at the top. It could have been a little bit more, like the font size could have been a little bit bigger, whatever have you. But the design is clean. It's neat. It's precise. It's good for the eye. It's good on the eye. I would love to hear something different. If anybody else has a different opinion than mine, if they think this is too boring or too static or too whatever, I would love to hear that.
Well, I mean, it's very responsive and well built, especially considering that this person built, Max Nielsen, you built it themselves. At the bottom, it says a human-generated website. So, like, big props for that. Yep. My opinion, it's a little dry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there is a line between like function and personality. This is more function than. But I mean, I respect that personally, right? Like, I would rather it work than look good, and like this works very, very, very well.
Yes, and again, you don't know who your audience is at this point. So, if I was looking at this one, I'd be like, yeah, bingo.
I mean, also props to Max for having everything on one page. Pretty much, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, easy to scroll. You just look. There are 3 projects. Concise.
The picture of SFU Surrey kind
we
of
do
is
have
funny,
a chat comment saying that they're probably confused on what they actually do.
Oh.
That's actually a good point because it's not up front at the top and the very first thing you're hit with is the projects. It doesn't say what he did on the projects.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Actually, there are
not until you scroll to the About Me at the bottom that says I'm a UX designer.
Could we actually see the there are tags here.
And the tags are not descriptive.
Not really. Like,
not descriptive about what Max did.
It's timeline, it's whether
Group
it was
project.
a group project or not, and then presumably their role, but also the role is slightly different.
Yeah.
Let me try and see if I'm able to navigate this.
That's a good catch.
Melody 9119.
Good job. People are not sleeping. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you can see, you some UX design. I want to go project. This, again, the same thing. It's a very consistent, clickable transit fair, BC Health, Healthcare, Serendipity, and then how you can connect with them. Email, phone, LinkedIn. Let's see if it actually works.
Ooh.
Openable. We're looking at one of the projects.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There, it's clickable. It checks out.
Yeah, very responsive site. Like it's just well built. Good job
Yes.
on that in that respect. Do I wish it had more personality in the design?
What
Maybe.
would you change, Mo? What would you change if you had to change something about this? What would you do?
So I would put some kind of bio or something that tells more about who Max is at the top. It doesn't have to be the full about me. It could just be like one sentence. It could be one picture.
Maybe just next to his name.
Even
here.
just one sentence next to his name to be like, I'm a UX designer.
Okay, let's see how they're describing the project.
Actual.
It's on its act.
Oh. Wait a second.
What do you mean?
Hold on. If we go to Max Nielsen, so right now this is actually a sub page of his website specifically for design and projects. So if you go to maxnielsen.ca,
Oh, I see. So
I'm
this is-
here.
it says I'm a UX designer studying at SFU and a photographer in my free time, and then it splits into photography and design portfolio.
Interesting. So I'm assuming we saw the design. Okay, that answers a couple questions.
It does.
But even his photography, like I really love the aesthetics. Oh my goodness.
I actually feel like the photography page of the portfolio has more personality.
Well,
in
okay,
its
no,
layout.
but that's because that's structured like a photography portfolio.
That's true. That's
it's
true.
like that's a different practice.
Okay, you guys, here. I'm gonna say something here right now.
Also puppy.
This is okay. Here's the thing: the fact that my eyes get tired at the end of the day because I have to look at the computer screen so much and I have to
Fair.
go through the resumes and the cover letters and the portfolios, etc. But the fact that I actually am navigating, I'm clicking on purpose for fun, that is just awesome. I clearly have a bias, you guys. Come on.
I can tell. It's
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. You know, we were talking earlier about having different forms of your portfolio for different jobs, right? I'm guessing that's why Max submitted the design specific portfolio. And I'm gonna say if you're going to submit it as if it's a standalone portfolio, then it should be able to function as a standalone portfolio. So I would literally just copy over the little I'm a UX designer studying at SFU and a photographer in my free time. Slap that on the top of the design thing. That's my hot take. I don't know.
I also noticed they actually link the SIAT site on this too.
Oh yeah, they do. That's kind of funny.
Okay, so I want to be able to click on this, and there you go. The YouTube link works. All good. People can see. And then on the left tab, now what I would expect to see is pretty much the same standard being followed on the other projects. So if you look at the left tab, it says, in this piece, what it is, what I learned, choosing your design direction, final thoughts, and check it out. So I just intuitively, that's what I would like to see in all the projects. So they're talking about what it is, what they learned, how did they get from point A to point B, specific direction they took, why did they take it, final thoughts, so on and so forth. It could be a little bit more descriptive, but
I have a
really
question. I have a question for you, Afshan. How do you feel about the layout of like putting the final product at the bottom of these detailed breakdowns?
I do not seem to have a problem with it.
I see.
Goes back to my bias.
It's
Okay, what am I missing here?
I don't know. It's the fact that like we don't get to see the final product. We have to scroll through all the stuff first before we can actually see
So remember in the beginning we said that there are two clear camps. One wants to know the process first. The other one wants to know the final product first. I think we belong to those different camps. You know, there's no right or wrong so much as a preference. So I think, again, a very, very good point that you raised. I don't think that it hurts to check in with your employer or your client. Hey, you know, I would really love you to go through the portfolio and projects with me. What is your preference? Would you like to see the finished product first, or would you like to go over the process first? And that can drive the conversation. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I wonder what this is. Hosting stakeholder workshops. Oh, okay.
unfoldable.
Madame Stream Technician has a question, and that is, what type of contact information should be on the portfolio? Socials, email, phone number, address. Also, I noticed that this one doesn't link a resume.
True.
Okay. And what do you think, an hour and a half into it, what do you think my answer is?
It depends.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's,
Now, what does it depend on?
I mean, what are you actually active on, for one?
Yes.
I guess so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Please do not put your LinkedIn if you don't even go there. If there is no post here, if it's not current, if you want to put it on your socials, your social need to be vibing. They can't be a static thing or whatever have you. So whatever you're putting, it needs to add value to that real estate. 100% your name, your portfolio link, your how they can connect with you, whether it's email, or here's the thing that cannot happen. On your contact page, you cannot put a contact which you rarely see. If somebody's trying to connect with you, and if you've put it there, for example, DM me on my Instagram, I will check it in next year. So that can't happen. That's why I say depends. It really, really depends what you want it for and how often do you check that. So the purpose of the contact person is somebody needs to see. Somebody needs to be able to get to it.
Well, I have a question for you then, since you have a bias towards Max's portfolio. LinkedIn is the only social media that's linked here. And you said that you should only link it if it's popping. Well, I looked through his LinkedIn.
Not super poppin' from my perspective.
I mean, listen, his work experience is here, education is here.
It's current at least.
It's current,
Yeah.
but is it popping? There's no posts.
Well, popping is subjective. Okay, Max is my person. Okay, leave him alone. No, okay. If you want to see whether it's popping, the idea is that it needs to have the necessary information. It needs to be current, and it needs to have some necessary components that a good professional LinkedIn, which by the way is going to be another live stream.
Oh God.
But yeah, I see what you mean. mean.
I'm reminded of we were talking way back before we debuted the Mo and Faye. We talked about the possibility of our debuts being making our own LinkedIn profiles in character.
Right. Yes, I remember that.
Can I roast it?
Oh boy.
They don't exist, but maybe we can do it on a stream together.
That's some, yeah.
Okay, so quickly moving on to serendipity.
Yes.
And then it's essentially the same. It follows the same sort of guided pathway for us to follow. What it is, feedback, iteration, reflection, check it out yourself. So, no surprises here. Essentially follows the same path.
There's so many links, so many buttons.
It is a lot of tabs.
It is a lot of components.
Yes.
I think it can get a little overwhelming. I feel like.
I mean, at the very least, they do have the same semantics for what's clickable and what's
yes,
not.
Yes,
So
that
that's-
is very
yeah.
clear. Is that if it's in a square, you can click it.
Yep. Yeah, that's all I actually had to say about all of these portfolios, you guys.
All right, let's catch up on the chat for the last. I guess to wrap things up. I think on the topic of the last Max's portfolio, we had King Yari says it adds so much personality though. Oh, crying designer ego speaking.
So
I think
that
that's-
was at the end of Fizza's.
Right, that was
I was
at the
gonna
end
bring
of
it
Fizza's.
up, but-
Right, Fizza's design adds a lot of personality. That is true, at least compared to Max's. But yes. And then Crazy What Else also said puzzle-centered front page experience.
I mean, if you're a puzzle designer, that might be appropriate, but the problem is the employer needs to be able
Yeah,
to.
you probably don't want to make the employer be doing a puzzle to get to your work.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. We could probably. Oh wait. Something I noticed was I was keeping tabs on the votes on that poll about whether the people watching the stream are SIAT students or SFU students or not students. And the final result with 37 votes is 51%, the majority, are SIAT students. This was sitting at 0 for a really long time.
It was.
But now we have 8% who are SFU students not from SIAT. So that's cool.
It's pretty cool.
We've got 5% who are students from elsewhere. And lastly, we have 35% who are not students at all.
Great.
Cool. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for today.
I think so. Yes.
I hope everyone found this a valuable experience.
It was a pleasure. It genuinely was. It was so fun. It was the most fun I've had in such a long time.
I am glad.
I'm very glad.
Yeah. I don't know. Hey, maybe we can have you on again in the future.
Hey, maybe you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's do so. Okay, Madame Stream Technician is trying to tell us to do summary statements. Summary.
Yeah.
Great portfolios.
Yeah.
Still room to be improved, but
But-
we can all improve.
Yes.
And portfolios are important, and you should have one.
So if you learned anything from this portfolio or from this stream, use it. It's Whatever you learn, take that knowledge.
Oh, and you should submit your portfolio after you make it so we can roast it and the cycle repeats anew.
Yes.
And the answer to all the questions that it depends.
Oh yeah, of course.
And if
Can't forget
nothing
that.
else works, eat ice cream and go shower.
Exactly. Valuable advice.
All right.
Okay, and I think for
we do have an
closing
announcement.
announcements, that's right. We did have the design your own Cappu contest. Cappu the red panda plushie, me. But we did extend the deadline to actually today. Tonight is when the deadline for submissions closes. We've got some amazing submissions. Very excited to review them next Monday.
Yes, yeah. So we will be reviewing them on, I believe that is the 23rd.
Yes, Monday the 23rd.
Yes, so you have until 11:59 PST, June 18th to get these
Today.
in. So
Yes.
like, even if you're in a different time zone, you still have roughly
8 hours.
8 hours to do so.
And the stream is, we haven't actually set the time yet, but it's probably going to be in the evening time.
Yeah, sometime Monday evening. Monday the 23rd, we will be looking at all your Capus, determining a winner. And are we determining a winner on stream?
Yes. No, we're determining the winner before the stream happens, and we will be announcing it, and also roasting everyone's submissions.
Yes.
In classic, that's our thing, guys. We be roasting. But yes, please come. And that's why you're orange. That's right. That's why I'm orange. I'm roast. Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you so much to our guest, Afshan. You have been amazing.
so
It has been a pleasure to have you. I'm glad you had fun.
Absolutely.
I know
Pleasure
I
was
did.
all mine. Thank you.
And thank you so much to everyone watching. Once again, hope you guys found this useful. Whether you're a student or not a student, everyone's got to get a job, I guess.
Indeed.
All right, and one last question from the chat from the person from Germany. Crazy, what else is? It has to be chocolate ice cream, though, right?
I swear to God, yes. Mic drop. End of story.
All right, and we'll end it there, folks. Thank you so much. This is Mo and Faye signing out with Afshan. Thank you, everyone.
Subscribe.
Have a good afternoon. Oh, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, bye.
Good evening. Have a good rest of your day, guys.